this thing going. Okay. Good night. Hopefully it works. Remember last time we did it? It wasn't really working. Oh, yeah, we're good. We're working now. Okay. Let me say hi in the chat.
What's up, everybody? Oh, I
Let
guess I
me
gotta
pull up
open
the
YouTube, right?
let me pull up the PDF.
Where do I see the live stream?
It's over on YouTube.
Yeah, that's where I am. Under SVS?
Yeah, click on live.
That's where I am. Oh, do this to conquer your arcles. I didn't know we had a topic.
Well, what we're teaching tonight, or what we're going to talk about tonight, is to conquer our goals. So that'll be good. All right. Um,
I gotta
Oh, I
say hi to.
guess Will's not coming tonight, so it's you and me.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good.
All right. So uh this what we're talking about today is our spring semester for SVSLearn. And I'm just gonna share my screen here. Let's see here. We'll do this one. Get that going. And let me make sure I got my other window set up just so I could see the chat. Pop it out. Okay. I think we're good. Okay. The SVS 2025 spring semester. So we're doing something a little different than what we've done in the past, and that is we're launching um, a couple of classes and our um, what would you say workshops at the same time.
A lot of
Okay.
stuff coming out. I mean,
A
a
lot of stuff
ton of
coming
new
out. And
stuff.
really quick, I want to show you it's Children's Book Pro. These are just, we're going to go through all of these, but it's Children's Book Pro starting February 13th and running until April 24th. It's Self-Publishing Pro starting February 13th and running until April 24th. Um, we have the Comics Creator Workshop February 15th and February 22nd. Those are both Saturdays. And then the Watercolor Workshop, which is starts March 8th and runs through, or starts March 1st and runs through March 8th. And so this is our spring semester. Once this is done, we'll probably take a couple weeks off and launch the summer semester. But for now, this is what's going on for us here. Um, what we want to get in here is what exactly is the difference between an SVS course versus an SVS workshop. And so let me pull up, and I should say this is a Q&A session as well. So if you guys have any questions, shoot them in the chat there and just begin it with the word question, and then we'll get to those. We'll answer them whenever you ask them. So let me pull up the SVS website here and let me hit escape, bring this down here. If you haven't been to the new SVS website, you gotta check it out. Uh, whoop, dang it. I feel like there we go. There we go. All right. So I want to show you
Excuse me.
these courses here. We have, for example, Children's Book Pro. The difference between a course and a workshop is Children's Book Pro runs for 10 weeks, and you could see here the schedule and the curriculum. And if you click on one of these arrows, it's going to tell you what different lectures are happening each week, what we're going to go over each week. So you could see these things are pretty intense. Some weeks, a lot of lectures, a lot of homework. Some weeks are going to be a little bit lighter. I think this one, yep, this one is a little bit lighter. Couple of lectures, but it's mostly like a catch-up week. Um, you're going to have begin the week with the videos dropping into the course shell. You watch the videos on your own schedule, and then we meet together every Thursday, going back and forth mornings versus evenings, just so people can have it can work with people's different schedules. And you can ask any question you want for the material that week, or material that, or anything related to the course, essentially. And so it's sort of like a hybrid of, instead of us showing up and teaching the lectures over and over, you can watch the recordings and then meet with us and with the other students to ask questions and whatnot. So that is the course we got. Let me show you here what a workshop looks like. So the workshop is going to be, I'll show you the schedule here. 2 days. So on Saturday, it's going to be a morning session that starts at 9 PST and an afternoon session that starts at 1 PST. And the mornings, there's with a break in the middle, they're about 2 hours each session. The morning session is going to be lectures, and then the afternoon session is going to be Q&A, anything to do with comics. And then there's going to be a homework assignment given. And you can see in the chat there, Ryan says, "Did the Comics Creator Workshop last time around worth every penny?" Ryan, it was really cool to see what Ryan was working on since the workshop and kind of see the different works in progress that he's been posting and stuff. Really cool stuff there. And so many great artists coming into that course, and just being able to help them take what they've started and really launch it into something bigger and better, or more refined and more calibrated than what they'd done before, is super satisfying for me as a teacher. So I hope you join us for that.
And so
Um,
the ideal, I don't know kind of what format we're doing for this whole thing. So let me know if I'm uh, jumping ahead, but the
mhm.
ideal person to take the workshop versus something. I mean, like you're doing comic book pro down the line. So
Yeah.
this is for somebody who is like, hey, I'm thinking about doing a comic and or a graphic novel, and you're just kind of diving in, or who's the
Yeah.
ideal student for this workshop?
Essentially, the courses are way more in depth. They're for people who are a little bit more, if they're not intermediate level, they're really serious about going down that path. So for children's books, for self-publishing, this is something you want to do in 2025. Take this course because it is going to lay out everything you need to know for it. So it might be a good primer for you, but if you have some ability, you've done some things, it's going to clear up a lot of confusion that you might be having, and it's going to put you in contact with professionals and other like-minded individuals to help you get on your way. A workshop, I look at this comics workshop as more of a 101. Like, I'm not fully committed to do, maybe I am committed to do a graphic novel someday, but I'm not ready, or I'm just curious about how I could do comics in a way that works for me and my style. The workshop is going to be a way, this comics workshop is going to be a way for you to really start to scratch that itch and figure out if this thing is going to be something for you. And I believe it's the same for your watercolor workshop as well.
It is. Yep. It's basically an essentials class. Like I
Hmm.
see so many people who are even intermediate, maybe even starting to go into advanced watercolor, and they're just struggling because they don't understand the materials. They don't understand what paper to buy. They don't understand what paint to buy. And so they're just hoping for the best. And I was like, oh my gosh, we've got to get a handle on just these basic techniques and these basic supplies, and then add advanced classes later. And so that's what my workshop is. It's called Watercolor Essentials. And it's really just about learning the stuff in a real way where you know what you're doing. You know, when you walk into an art store, I am buying this because of this reason, not just like, oh, that's a pretty color. That's a cool looking brush.
Yeah.
So it's gonna clear that stuff up, and then I'm gonna have more advanced workshops later. But this one called Watercolor Essentials, and it's going to be pretty deep on how to just how to use it all, how to do it all.
Exactly. Okay, so let's get into specifics here. So, Children's Book Pro. Um, this course is our I would say our flagship SVS course, the one we started with, the one that a lot of our um, curriculum outside of this supports. So, if you've been going through the curriculum classes that we've been offering, and you're really ready to um, learn and understand not only what it takes to make a children's book, but what you have to do to put together a portfolio and contact agents and get on the radar of the really of the publishing industry. This is going to be the course for you. Let me go back to our website and oh, hitting the wrong button there. Okay, so um, we're going to go into this here, and we've got a few questions to answer that go along with this. And we're going to do these for each of these things. And like I said, if you guys have any questions
Well, there's
that
already a
aren't,
question in the chat from Anna. Can I go ahead and answer that?
yep.
Okay, she says, "What is the difference between Illustration Studio? I'm assuming you mean the subscription tier that's on the website and individual classes. I'm a children's book illustrator. Do you recommend I take Illustration Studio or Children's Book Pro?" It's a fantastic question, um, especially since we've revamped everything, so I can understand the confusion there. So, Illustration Studio is really unique in that it's a year-long program, and it's just a bunch of live sessions where you can, like, one of the options is you can post a question to one of the instructors and you'll get feedback in within 24 hours, anytime in that whole year. You The Illustration Studio gets access to all the classes that we have, or so all the foundation curriculum that we have, and any live event pretty much that we have other than workshops and the courses. So we have draw alongs, we have, I mean, just a ton of stuff happening in the community. We had an hour long critique. Was it last night or 2 nights ago? I can't remember at this point.
Hmm.
But it's a ton of just individual, detailed events that focus on you as an artist. At a certain point, you need feedback. At a certain point, you need a group of people around you to build you up. And so it's a more of a long-term idea, and it's just a continual feed of stuff happening. The Children's Book Pro, these pro classes, is a deep dive into one thing that you may not know enough about. So, for example, if you want to be a children's book illustrator, um, I definitely think you should take Children's Book Pro because that is the thing. But that doesn't mean, I mean, a lot of our students have had success taking the pro classes and then following up in the illustration studio. And I'm not trying to upsell, I promise. But where do you go with it once you're done with the class? It is such a deep dive, and these classes are so intense. It takes a while to really distill everything that we're talking about, everything that we're teaching. Sometimes you'll understand something in your head, but it actually doesn't come out in your brush or your pencil until like a few months later. And so the studio may be a place later to submit that stuff and say, "Hey, here's a book, or here's a character I'm working on. What do you guys think?" Get a instructor to chime in or whatever. But the Children's Book Pro is the class where you learn all the stuff that you're going to be working on, the techniques, the sort of the foundational blueprint, so to speak, of being a children's book illustrator. And then the illustration studio is sort of the community and the ongoing support for that.
Hmm. Okay, so who should take Children's Book Pro? Um, I would say if you are someone who's always wanted to do a children's book, maybe you have an idea for a children's book, you have some character ideas or situational ideas, but you're not quite sure how to develop them or exactly what you need to do to like just the ins and outs of doing a children's book. This is absolutely the course for you. Before we made this course, we scoured the internet looking at what everybody was offering as far as teaching children's books. Not only that, we looked at what was being offered online, not online, but like at actual brick and mortar schools. And we realized so much of it was lacking, like the full breadth of of what it takes to understand this and to work on it. And so that's where this course really came from. The three of us have done children's books. I don't know how many, 70 total between all of
I
us,
mean, it's a
something like that.
massive amount. And I mean,
Yeah.
all of our images, even when they're not in a book, per se, they're all of our images are storytelling based. I mean, that's what
Hmm.
we talk about over and over. That's our skill set. And so
Hmm.
we didn't want to repeat if when we first started looking, we were like, oh, if somebody else has already done this and made the perfect children's book pro class, we'll send people over there because
Yeah.
why should we recreate
Right.
something if somebody else has already done it? I'm not kidding you guys. These classes are a disaster. Go look at these other children's book classes. Most of them will be short. They'll be like a couple of weeks and you'll get in there and they'll show you some samples and then they'll say, "Okay, go make your dummy."
Yeah.
And you're just sent on your way to make a 32-page picture book with that instruction. Yeah, or they'll tell you, "Just here's how I work and I hope you get something out of it." But we do a deep dive and here's what I'm doing, here's why I'm doing it, here's why I think it works. And then you on some of the topics you'll get not necessarily a discussion or sorry, a disagreement, but you'll get a good discussion on Jake might do something differently than I do. And then I'll ask him, "Hey, why are you doing it that way? I'm doing it this way." And we hash that out. So it's three instructors at working in three different ways, all achieving the same thing. And so you start to see, oh, there's overlap, even though these guys don't draw the same at all. Here's some overlap that's working for all three of these teachers. And so that was one of the
Mhm.
biggest benefits that we've seen from the students taking the class.
So the class runs for 10 weeks. Um, like we said, the time investment per week is going to be, you know, I'd say anywhere from 2 to 3 hours of instruction, of video instruction. And then I would probably double that for no, either match that or double it, depending on how much time you have to devote to homework. And then you're going to want to spend an hour with us during the weekly um, office hour sessions as well. So I would say 10 hours a week, probably, you know,
That
if
would
you
be
could.
fair. I mean, some people don't put in that much, and then they know they're going to watch it later because you
Yeah.
have access to this forever.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work. I'm not going to
Right.
lie.
But I would say if you could do an hour a day, maybe split it up, half hour at lunch, half hour in the evening, and then your afternoon on Saturday or your afternoon on Sunday, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Um, do I need to have an idea ready to go before I enroll in Children's Book Pro? You don't. You don't. In
Nope.
fact, one of the cool things about it is we have three stories. We hired three different authors to write um, essentially classic fairy tales as a children's book. And you can use that manuscript. And we actually want you to do this. Use those manuscripts and develop a children's book based on those manuscripts before you start doing your own idea. Reason for that is it's a good way to build out a portfolio that people, that future art directors and editors and people who look at your website will instantly recognize, oh, I could, I see how this person does Little Red Riding Hood. I understand what they could do to this idea. If they can do that with Little Red, that I know I like, or I can understand and like what they're going to do with this particular idea, right? And it's just an easier way for you not to get so caught up in the storytelling side, so you can, or the story side, so you can focus on the storytelling, the character design, the environment design, the all the other aspects that are required for an illustrator to do a children's book.
Yep. And once you use go through the techniques and some of the tips and steps that we're kind of walking you through using a pre-existing manuscript, when you go to do your own manuscript, you are going to be armed, to the teeth on techniques and how to do it. Whereas if you bring your own story in and just try to do that within the confines of the class, uh, you may get tripped up. What if the story's not fully done as much as it needs to be, and you have to rewrite part of it, and then all of a sudden you're stuck?
Hmm.
So we always recommend doing the manuscript version in class, and then doing your own once you have a little bit more skill and some of the techniques we're going to talk about.
Yep. Okay. Will Children's Book Pro guarantee my book success? We don't guarantee that. We do guarantee you that you will learn what you need to know in order to be successful. but a lot of that depends on um, your ability as an illustrator, depends on the marketability of the ideas that you have. There's a lot of different factors, but what we've found is that um, you can't go into this industry blind. You can't go into this industry not understanding the ins and outs of it, or at least having a basic understanding of how things work. And so all we're doing is setting you up for the most success that you can possibly have.
Yep.
Um, does Children's Book Pro offer personal feedback on my project? That's a question we get a lot. We what we've designed is a community that everybody is sharing their work and everybody's giving feedback for each other weekly during the what it is the live Q&A session. We're going to answer your questions personally live. Also, if you have a question throughout the week, maybe it's a specific thing like um, uh, anywhere from like I've I've got this portfolio ready for an agent. Where should I post it or how should I present it? Could be one question, all the way to posting some character designs or something like that. Those are things we all address, but depending on really the amount of questions and fielding coming into us, we're we're going to essentially treat everybody with the amount of time that we have. So, um, so personal feedback on your project, possibly, uh, but not guaranteed. I know for sure, though, from what we've seen with pasts, if anybody's really going astray, we will use and we see multiple people kind of going in that direction. We're going to pull a few of those examples, give personal feedback to kind of guide everybody into the right direction. So I would say if you're worried that you're going to get lost and you're not going to get help, that's not a scenario that's going to happen with this. We're going to make sure you're guided in the right direction. Okay. Will I receive a certificate or credential after completing Children's Book Pro? Yes, we have a certificate that just says, a lot of times people will, um, whether their job has it or, it might be a certificate that you're needed for whatever reason. We offer that just as like a proof of completion that you did this with us. You might get some sort of, I've heard of some people, having like professional development and they just need a proof that they've done the professional development. This might work for that. How much does the course cost? Children's Book Pro is $800. We do have let's see, you can enroll now for 800. We also have a payment plan where you can do 3 monthly payments for 266.66. So you can choose that option or you can choose that option depending on how much cash you have on hand. Um, and then will students have access to updated versions of the course? So you're going to be enrolled into the course shell that we have for this course. So anytime there's an update or a tweak that we need to make to it, you'll just automatically have an update to that. And then last one of the questions we usually get is, will this course be applicable to someone who's not from the USA? This is very much focused on the USA market. So children's books in general, like a good chunk of this course is teaching how to um, do the illustration part of children's books. Surely you guys have seen bad children's books out there, right? Like this is hopefully the first line of defense to stop that from happening for future projects is we want you to have good, solid storytelling and illustrations. That's applicable no matter whether you're from Earth or Mars. But when we get into the business side of it, finding an agent, finding work in the children's book industry, that is very much focused on the U.S. And frankly, if you say you live in Italy, you might want to work in the U.S. You might want to. It doesn't matter where you live, but I would say the U.S. is a pretty healthy market. But a lot of that could apply to Europe as well. So
But
Uh,
storytelling in general is most of it, and storytelling doesn't change from
exactly.
wherever you are.
Exactly. All right. Next, we've got Self-Publishing Pro. But before we get into that, I want to answer Brandon's question. He said he was in Self-Publishing Pro last fall for his comic. Now that issue one of my comic is 90% done, is it worth it to take the comics creator workshop, or does it have a lot of the same info from Self-Publishing Pro? The workshop has no overlapping info from Self-Publishing Pro. However, if you're 90% done with your comic, it has overlapping info on how to do a comic. So that's essentially what the whole course is. And we're gonna talk about Self-Publishing Pro, and then we'll get into the workshop, and I'll show you the course curriculum, or the not the like the course material for that, so you can kind of gauge for yourself if this is something that you need and you're ready for. I will say though, in May, we're launching Graphic Novel Pro, which is like the 10-week Mama Jama course on how to do comics. And that's going to go over the publishing and building out your portfolio and all that stuff, along with how to make a comic. Okay, so Self-Publishing Pro, you want to answer the specific questions for that one, Lee?
Yeah, yeah. I was going to suggest that so you don't lose your voice.
Thank you.
All right. Who should take Self Publishing Pro? Anybody who is sick of the gatekeepers saying, no, you can't have your product made. Everybody has bumped up against that at some point in their life. I've got this idea. I think it would be a great idea. And then you pitch it. Oh, I mean, publishers and uh, companies are conservative. They need to make a ton of money for something to be successful, whereas you typically don't need to sell that many units to make something successful. So if you have an idea, a book, and it's not just books, self-publishing almost kind of leans towards the idea of it being a book, but in there we're talking about selling prints, we're talking about selling pens, we're talking about making something and selling that thing. It doesn't have to be a book per se. It could be almost anything if it's printed. And most of you guys have those kind of ideas. At this stage of where illustration is in the world, I think anybody would be crazy for not at least starting to supplement your income and your business model with something that you're making. I mean, every single one of us that are teachers at SVS do something on the side while still working with traditional publishers, whether that's Anthony Wheeler selling a sketchbook that he made. I mean, if you have an idea for any kind of product, this is going to be for you, because we really talk about starting with your idea, evaluating the idea, and then running with it. What do you do next? How do you market it? How do you build an audience? All that kind of stuff. How long will Self-Publishing Pro run? It's a 10-week course as well. It lines up perfectly with Children's Book Pro. And it's about the same kind of investment, time investment. Maybe sometimes a little bit more, because you're having to learn some technology, or like figure out a Facebook ad or a Facebook group or something like that, or go into Kickstarter and get that going. So I'd say it's comparable between 5 to 8 hours a week is what I would say would be a great time investment for you, if you can spare that over multiple days and stuff. Do I need to have a finished project to enroll in Self-Publishing Pro? You definitely do not, and it works either way. If you've got a good idea, this is just going to you're just going to be off to the races, and you're going to be able to apply it every week. That said, when we've had this happen a lot, where somebody thought they were going to do something, they get the course material and they're like, no, I think this is a better way to go, because we're going to talk about strategies and what to do first. You probably don't want to do like a 5-volume novel box set as your first thing, because
Mhm.
it's just too expensive and it's just too hard, and then you don't know if it's going to hit. And so a lot of people change that, but you can be anywhere at all in your journey of making something. It doesn't matter. It's not required. Will Self-Publishing Pro guarantee your books or your products success? Of course, we can't guarantee any success. We can guarantee that you're going to understand the principles of launching a product. But what the product is up to you. Did you come up with something unique? Did you have an audience for it? I mean, just to give you a quick example, like we had, and I love this example, by the way, but we had somebody in Children's Book Pro take our course. They used one of our manuscripts, Hansel and Gretel, but they replaced the main characters with what was it, Jake? A salmon
Avocado or
and an
something?
avocado. And
Yeah.
while I love it, I think it's hilarious. I think it was clever. I think it was funny. How big of a market is there for a salmon and an avocado, Hansel and Gretel? So like that market's probably going to be small. So we
Yeah.
can't guarantee any kind of success with anything, but we can guarantee that you'll understand the principles of being successful, if that makes
I want to
sense.
show you this. Week 6 is actually going to be split up between um two. I think we're actually splitting that one up, but I want to show you just what kind of stuff you're going to be learning. Fundraising options, a Kickstarter roadmap from start to finish, what you need to do. That's so invaluable. If you've ever like even imagined launching a Kickstarter and got overwhelmed by it, this right here would have saved me, and I know you, Lee, so much time just having that in front of you. So the
Oh, it's so
roadmap,
confusing. Yeah.
it tells you, okay, your Kickstarter is a year away. Here's what you should be doing now. Okay, it's 8 months away. Here's what you should be doing this month. You know, it's 2 weeks away. Here's what you should be doing this week. How to figure out how much funding you need and could possibly get based on your following, based on all the pre-work, setting up your Kickstarter, a deep dive on reward tiers, campaign page. All this stuff is like so valuable just in this week alone. Like this could have been the $800 right here.
It's true. He's not kidding. I mean, just one of the things I have in that week is a spreadsheet that I custom built for Kickstarter, and you just start to auto populate it with the product that you have and what you think your cost is, and it runs you through all these scenarios. It auto populates the entire thing. You don't have to guess at it. Um, if I just had that, it would have my whole both Kickstarters would have been, amazingly easier than they
Yeah.
were. All right, so does Self Publishing Pro offer personal feedback on my project? We're live every single week and we love looking at the projects. Again, we can't say, "Oh, you need to change this and do this." It's not a deep dive into your project. It's a deep dive into how to sell your project. But we do look at them and we talk about them, and we evaluate them as we go as best we can. But it's not a deep dive into your project the whole time, if that makes sense. We're guiding you through the process with your project.
Yeah. But
Will I
like I
receive a
said, it's,
certificate or
same with Jones Book Pro. If we see you going way astray, we're going to guide you back.
Yeah. I mean, we do critiques of the work too. We try to look at as much stuff as we can because it's all good. And by the way, you're not hearing just from us. The other people that are in there, we've had groups form in both Children's Book Pro and Self Publishing Pro, the critique groups that stayed together after the class and continue to critique weekly. I mean, for
Hmm.
years. It's amazing
Hmm.
to see that. Will I receive a certificate or credential? We can definitely supply you with something. Again, like Jake said, if you need to prove that you were in the class for some kind of reimbursement or credit or something like that with a school, we can absolutely supply you with that. That said, there's nothing that is going to arrive by the mail like a diploma or something. How much is the cost? Is the course cost, Jake? Is it the same? Is it
eight hundred
less? Is it more?
dollars
$800. I thought it was the
And
same. I didn't
again,
want to.
it's the same as the other course. You just go here. You can pick a one-time fee of 800, or you can do 3 monthly payments of 266.66.
Yeah. And we're stoked. We're so happy to be able to offer this for that price because we were just checking the price of college classes. Go,
Yeah,
if you don't believe me, go check any college that has just an a la carte class that you can add. The minimum we found for a program that even starts to get serious, which doesn't have as much stuff as this, is around 2 to 3 thousand for a 3 credit class. This is
right.
easily the equivalent
Even
of a
community
three.
college,
Yeah, it's this $2,000. So we're stoked to be. I mean, that's one of the guiding principles that we have in building self-publishing pro, or sorry, SVS. The whole thing is being able to have something that's affordable, that is high caliber stuff. Because if you go to the school that's in my local town right now and you wanted to graduate, to do all 3 years is about $150,000. If you did 3 years of SVS, including these courses, you might be out, a couple thousand. It's
yeah.
amazing. So we're happy about that. Okay. So is there a payment plan? Same payment plan is available for this one, 266 a month.
I
Will
want to
students have,
I want to point
what's
out
that?
something really quick. I just realized as you're saying that we've had 500, 600 people, 700 people do our pro courses right? I can't remember it's been a lot of people go through these. Not a single person has asked for their money back.
Yep, that's true. Not one time.
Not one time. So, okay, go for it. Sorry.
Okay. Will students have access to updated versions of the course? Absolutely. As technology changes, as if there's any big shift of information that changes, we're definitely going to update the course. That said, it is a great topic to bring up because some people say, "Oh, is this a class where we're going to show you how to navigate through Kickstarter and what buttons to press or Indiegogo or something like that?" And it's important to say, just like Children's Book Pro, these are principles. It does not matter if technology changes. It doesn't matter which platform you end up going on or if a new one comes along. These are principles that work for any platform. And so it's not something that's dependent on, oh, click this button and open this window kind of thing. So some people think it's like a guided tour of Kickstarter, but it's not that at all.
Hmm. Hmm.
Will this course be applicable for someone who's not from the USA? Yeah, I mean, again, these are principles of working with anything really. I can't think of anything that's so specific that it wouldn't work in Europe versus the US.
I mean,
Is there?
shipping stuff. I mean, we're talking principles, but again, like we're going to guide you in the right direction to figure out what exactly you need to know to do proper shipping in your country, right? So, we may not give you exact because again, that stuff's changing monthly, right? But this really is a guiding principles type of thing. Instead of showing you the exact recipe, we're giving you a map so that you can kind of chart your own course and know exactly, okay, the 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 hills are over here, the ravines are over here. I gotta avoid those. And here's the path that I need to take to get there. I love analogies, and sometimes they don't work, and sometimes they do. But what was the one earlier today? It was the horse costume.
No, that was actually a great analogy.
Okay.
That was actually right on the money. Um, Jake equated just real quick. Jake equated us in our team meeting now, which is grow. SVS is growing huge. We had like 10 people at our staff meeting now. Jake equated Will, Jake, and I as a people who put on a horse costume where one person is the front and the other person is the back. And it was good. It was a good analogy. It's
Yep.
exactly perfect.
Yeah, and we're the point now where we just automatically know, like, okay, I got the head, okay, I got the back, and
Yeah.
we can
We
gallop
can
like
we
a
can
horse pretty
navigate it with
easily.
no verbal communication.
Yeah.
It's kind of how it works.
All right. Comics Creator Workshop. All right, let me pull this up. Where is it? Right here. Okay, so the Comics Creator Workshop. Who should take the Comics Creator Workshop? This person is going to be someone who is comics curious, who's maybe dabbled in it a little bit in the past, maybe got a little bit intimidated by it and thought, this is something I really want to do, but I don't quite understand how to take the story that's in my head and put it on paper in comic panel form. So I'm going to teach you step by step how to come up with an idea. And the assignment in this workshop is to do a 5-page story, 5 to 10 page story. So you're going to come up with an idea. I'm going to show you how to write that idea down, how to break it into panels, how to arrange those panels on a page so it reads properly, and then how to pencil, ink, color. Okay. But it's a very much um, a like an introduction to all this. We get in deep on Graphic Novel Pro in May, but this is going to be like a good way for you to get going, to get running on making your comic. It's going to be two Saturdays back to back. So Saturday one we meet, you get your assignment, you work on it during the week. Saturday two, I review and give specific critiques to people who pay for the critique session. The live stream people get to watch all the critiques happen. So you learn as everybody else is learning. I believe we just have one seat left we only had 10 slots for the live critique. So there's one seat left for that if you're really interested in getting your comic critiqued. And what I do is it has to be to me by Friday or by Thursday night, so that Friday I can work all day on all the different comics, do the drawovers, figure out. what needs to be fixed on them, and then Saturday I go through each person and fix them. Okay, like I said, it's going to be 2 weeks back to back. Time investment, I would say the 2 Saturdays is 4 hours each, so 8 hours on the 2 Saturdays, and then however much time you want to spend in the week drawing your comic. And you don't have to, in order to get a critique, you don't have to have something polished and finished. In fact, I prefer it if it was still in a sketchy stage so that you don't have to redraw things that you've already finished. Do I need to have a comic idea ready to enroll in the Comic Creator Workshop? You don't need to. It'd be fine if you already had one. And I've critiqued the last time I critiqued comics that people had done prior to the workshop. They gave me 5 pages or 10. I think the max was 5 pages for me to work on and help them with. So it could be something you've done in the past that you bring to it. But this is a good opportunity for you to try and learn something new. Um, Will Comic Creator Workshop guarantee my success? I guarantee you that if you apply everything you learn in this workshop, you will absolutely be a better comic artist than you were before you started this workshop. That is my guarantee right there. I can't guarantee if people are going to love your comic idea about, super avocado, right? I can't guarantee that. That actually might be a great
Oh
comic
no, I'm
idea.
running with that. I just drew an avocado.
The mutant avocados. I mean, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a billion-dollar franchise, so stranger things have happened, right? Do I give personal feedback on my project? If you sign up for the critiques, yes, you're going to get personal not one-on-one, 1 on 10, so or however many people are in there. But I'm going to work with you on that project. And I'll even invite you in so that we can communicate live um, uh, about your comic as well, if that works best for you. We can get you a certificate if you need it. That's no problem. Um, Workshop is going to be 200 for the live stream. The live stream, you can ask questions. You can, throughout the lectures, throughout the Q&A, obviously, anything that you have questions about, you can get answers to. Um, the the critique is $400, and that very much is specific on the comic that you're working on, me giving you direct feedback on that. There's no payment plan available for this particular one. If we click on here, you could see it's just a one-time fee. And the access to this workshop videos is 2 months. So, like most weekend workshops, these things are in and out in a weekend. And the best we could do for this is 2 months. So if you know, a month later, 2 months later, you want to remember one thing that you saw in that video, you can go ahead and watch it again. And I would recommend getting out your phone camera and recording it so that you have your own personal copy that you're in control of. If there's anything in the workshop that you felt was something that you wanted to come back to, a year later or more. Will this course be applicable for someone who's not from the USA? Yeah, this really, it doesn't get into the comics industry. This is just about storytelling. And I want to show you this right here. Everybody who joins the Comic Creator Head Start Workshop is going to get this PDF. What is it? It is 47 pages long. I'm just going to show you here. It's got everything that I talk about in the workshop. I'll just scroll through it really quick. So we're going to get into the tools that I like using for not only traditional, but for digital. Um, it's going to get into the assignment, story ideas, storytelling basics and techniques, prompts, the list of cool, the outline, how to put everything together in your story, how to apply that to breaking it down on the page, how to lay out your page, all this kind of stuff, word bubbles, the whole deal, and my 12 comics commandments that thou shalt not break any of these. So this is
That's
super
awesome.
valuable, handy thing to have to go with your comic course. And that thing obviously is something you download and keep forever, and can refer back to every time you go to sit down and draw another comic.
Am I gonna have
All
to
right.
make a PDF now, Jake? Because you made that.
Yeah, you do. There, I, they're a lot of work, but it's so satisfying to have that thing just handed over and have someone be like it answers all the
No, it
questions.
does. It's something to refer back to get
Yeah.
a basic idea. Maybe I'll try to do that if I can put it together in time. All right. Am I going over my? Let me answer a question from Anna first about
Yeah.
Children's Book Pro. She says, if you're already working on a picture book with a publisher, good for you. Can you do your own illustrations and not use a pre-written class manuscript? You absolutely can. We've had people to do similar things in there. The one thing that I'll warn you against is that how that worked out in the past is they would do the work and then they'd present the work and we'd say, oh, like your pacing seems a little bit odd there. Maybe we move this to this page. Maybe this gets bigger. Maybe that gets smaller. And then the answer is, well, that's the way the publisher wanted it. And
Mm,
then so we can't really do anything. So
yeah.
sometimes it's your hands are tied to what you can do. So you can't make just global changes as easy as you can with a manuscript that doesn't matter, of course. But you can absolutely use your own book that you're working on for sure. I mean, we go into character building, we go into how to build set pieces, how to think about environment. I mean, you definitely can do the visual development for building that up. It's just sometimes it just comes to a head where you can't make it as good as you want to because the publisher gets in the way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, let me know if that clarifies your question or if you have a follow up for sure. Yeah, so the watercolor workshop is like Jake said, starts March 1st, and it's going to be a week long, or sorry, we're now talking about making it 2 weeks. The way that it's going to drop is there's going to be video and a lesson that drops daily for 7 days. Now we're still trying to figure out if there's going to be a day between them or whatever, but 7 days worth of lecture, demo, and assignments. So each day I'm going to have you doing some technique. Each day I'm going to have you looking at a principle or exploring a material in a way that you may or may not have ever seen before. And it's just sort of like I said, a deep dive into each thing in isolation. Here's the yellow paint that we're using. Why are we using this yellow? How does it work with this blue? How did we lay it down with this brush versus this brush? And why would we do that? So there's 7 days worth of exercises, and then there's a live component where we come together. It's Q&A. If anybody wants to see a demo on one of the um, tips or one of the techniques I'm talking about, I'll do a live demo here. I've got the full setup to be able to do that. And so should be able to clear up any kind of question. And this is sort of the gateway because you'll understand all your materials, everything, paper, brushes, paint, everything, and basic technique. Then it'll prepare you for the intermediate and advanced classes that I'm building that will be follow-ups to this, which will include things like how to do night scenes, how to do complicated cityscapes, how to paint water and other things that people have trouble with, reflections. So there'll be more targeted advanced stuff, but without this watercolor essentials class, you'll be lost. I mean, truly lost. If I were to say, because how all the techniques in the advanced classes are going to build on what you're going to learn here. And like I said, most people, even people who are working, don't follow the right steps in a lot of this stuff. And so this is going to set you up for just an easy path for actually growing as an artist. Most people don't know what they're doing. Like I said, they hope it works. But when I paint, I know it's going to work because I follow these very, very clear, kind of like Jake's last page. What was the commandments?
Hmm.
There's a couple of guidelines and they're not complicated, but you just need to be shown. And it's kind of frustrating how much mystique is kind of put on watercolor, like that it's just this sort of magical thing that happens on the page, and it's not. It's very, very simple steps thought of in the right way always equal a result. I can't remember the last time. I mean, when I was first painting, have disastrous results. I'd throw stuff away. It's fine. It's part of learning. But I can't remember the last time that's happened now because I go through all these steps.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is our spring semester. Again, Children's Book Pro and Self-Publishing Pro are running from February 13th to April 24th. You can sign up for both if you have, if you're really treating this like you want full credit hours for the semester. These uh, the live sessions are not going to overlap. So you'll have one Children's Book Pro session every day or every Thursday, and one Self-Publishing Pro session every Thursday, and they'll just alternate morning and evening, morning and evening. And then again, Comic Creator February 15th, and Watercolor Workshop March 1st. Final day for enrollment is usually, I believe, the last day would be the day before these classes actually start. So you have a little bit of time to figure it out. We're gonna love
There's
it.
a question. How much does the watercolor workshop cost? It's the same as the comic. All the workshops are going to be similarly priced at what is it, $399, or did we go to 400, an
It's
even number?
200 for just the live stream, and then a 400 if you're getting yours personally
Yeah,
critiqued.
it'll be somewhere in there. It's because the workshops are so specific in nature, they may change in terms of like what Jake's doing versus what this class is doing
Yeah.
versus like even Samantha Cotterell's doing putting together a 3D workshop because the subject matter is just so specific. Some of them might be a week longer than another one or a week shorter. So I'll let you know. But around that same price point, depending on how much crit we do and how much assignments there is and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
between I'd say between $300 and $400 is where it's going to land. But I'm still building the course. I'm about halfway through building the whole thing. I've got a whole studio full of watercolor paintings right
I
now
know.
that I've been shooting for this class. So
Yeah,
sorry, I can't give you more specifics, but we're just building this stuff up right now.
but I mean, it's March 1st, so you still have
Still got a little time.
a little
Yeah.
time to figure that out.
Let me just add
Uh,
one more thing, Jake. I don't know if we're wrapping up. You have the wrap up kind of sound to your voice.
well, also, this is people's last chance to ask any other questions, so we're definitely open for that
Yeah,
as well.
ask away. I wanted to, while people are pondering any question they may have, I just wanted to share sort of how wonderful this stuff is from the teacher perspective. We've run Children's Book Pro. Children's Book Pro was the first pro level class that we built. And we did it. It took almost a year to build it. And we had already thrown away two versions of it before because it wasn't good enough. We were like, this is the bar. So we launched that, like I think 2 years ago was the first one that Children's Book Pro ran. And now, so 2 years ago, people took the class and they're applying the principles and they're we were using a Discord, but now it'll be within the community. They're talking and asking questions with each other. And now we're seeing those people get agents. Now we're seeing those books get published, either those books or they're just being hired by a publisher to do another book. And it's just cool. We got to watch them go through that cycle from being a student, not knowing what to do, then getting a portfolio together, then getting an agent, then getting a book deal. And now there are peers. I mean, it's amazing to see that. And they're just so good. It's
Yeah,
cool.
it's a lot of fun. It's
Very
a lot of fun.
satisfying to see that happen.
Yeah. And like you saw here, who was it? Brandon was saying he took Self-Publishing Pro and drew a comic, and now he's ready to rock and roll on that thing, get that thing out there and published as well. Oh, she just had another, or Anna has a question.
Yep, it's all traditional watercolor in this one. Yep, and you should be able to use most of your own paints if you already have paint. I go over that week one. Matter of fact, right when you sign up for the class, there's a certain amount of videos you'll just have access to already immediately, and that is the paint material section because I go over if the pigments you already own are going to work, or maybe if you want to think about switching those. So yeah, it's all traditional stuff.
Yep. All right. Any last questions from anybody?
Da, da, na, na, na,
Speak
na.
now or forever hold your peace. No.
Man, I'm excited. It's so fun to get these things going, and there's so much energy in there. It's cool because a lot of people have been working in their studios alone on this stuff. I mean, there's not a
Mhm.
ton of places to go for children's book stuff. And if you're a member of SCBWI, by the way, I should mention that if you know what that is, Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators, they give you the same information every time. Go make a
Mhm.
dummy, then pray that it gets published. That's their that's their path.
Yeah.
So watching people kind of come in here, they're like, oh my gosh, there's a whole group of people who think like I do, and I'm actually learning something, and now I have questions, and now I have thoughts, and it's just an interesting process to watch, people go through it.
Yeah. Really quick, while we got you guys here, I just want to show you when you come to SVS Learn and you are one of our members, you click on the login here and you go to the new platform and it brings you to our community page, the whole community here. What's cool about it is we have the feed, which you can absolutely go and look at what everybody's posting, all these things that are happening over here, all in one feed. What's super cool here is the events page. So this shows you what all of our next events are going to be. Office hours. We've got a live podcast session. Freaky Friday draw along, which is something Will or Lee and Anthony have been doing. Um, those are so fun. And what's cool is you can go to past events. We can look at the last Freaky Friday draw along. Every time they're done, they post the video right here. So you can go in and you can watch what's happening. You can see Lee uh,
Oh yeah, I
doing
was painting live in watercolor. We were doing 10-minute environments in watercolor. And so, a lot of people, matter of fact, the question that just came in, I've struggle with loosening up. And so that's Anthony's drawing right there digitally. But yeah, I was like, let's do 10-minute environments in watercolor. And exercises like that really force you to loosen up.
yeah.
Absolutely. Um, but yeah, you get
This is
access
such a
to all
good
this stuff.
setup that you have here. So you could see what you're doing over here. You could see close up what you're doing here. You might
Yep,
as
the
well put
palette.
your reference above here so that this whole area is like you could
I know. I figured that out like 5 minutes before we started shooting. Anthony said, "Oh, you should do that in watercolor." And I was
right.
scrambling a little bit. Another question, wondering for the watercolor course, will it mainly be beginner level info? I've been doing watercolor for some time, but really struggle with the loose expressive part. That's a really tough question to answer because a lot of times people struggle with this. To do really good loose paintings, you have to be on point with your technique, and understand exactly why the pigments are doing what they do. Otherwise, it becomes a sloppy mess. And so that becomes my question is, do you truly know? A lot of times, like I said, people, even at intermediate to advanced level, I see them making mistakes all the time that I could fix in 1 second if I could just tell them, don't do that, do this. And this is the reason why you're getting that weird mark right there. You're getting more blooms than you need or whatever. And so it just depends on what your true foundation level is. If you're truly intermediate to advanced, you probably don't need this. If you've got I've seen some people that say they're advanced and then they have a palette that is like 45 colors. My palette's 9 colors and it can make any color. It is the perfect palette through extensive testing on like which pigments do you use exactly and why do you use them. 9 colors to make a true easy, convenient palette that can make any color. And so can you do that? Do you have that? I don't know. I mean, that's always the question. I can tell you this. This is a little bit of a of analogy using myself as an example. I've been a skateboarder for a long time. Before I came to art, I was a competitive skateboarder and sponsored or whatever. Anyway, long time ago. And now I was like, oh, it'd be fun to get back into it. And there's a class that I'm taking online from this guy who was in the X Games, and he's got this beginner's whole section. I'm like, I have been skateboarding forever. I don't need that part. But in the video, he's like, you're going to say you're advanced, but I want you to watch this video and see if you can do it. I couldn't do half the things in the beginner video. And so am I really intermediate or advanced? Maybe not. And so that's the question I have for you. I can't answer that question for you. Um, it does set up all the other classes. It solidifies your materials and how you're doing things. Can you make a perfect, huge? I see on YouTube a lot of people make like how to do a flat wash and they'll do a little like 2 inch, 3 inch square. Anyone can do that. Can you do it on a full sheet of watercolor paper? That is an entirely different thing. So it just depends on if you're truly there or not.
Yeah. I'm just going through and showing you some of the lectures that we have in Children's Book Pro. Like this one is all about character consistency and how to do a character in an action pose, how to do how to do a stylization of your characters is a big one. And Will goes in and talks about different styles and how you can bring your own style to a particular character. So yeah, this is essentially your experience, going into these courses is it's all here in the same location as the rest of the community, as the live streams are going to be. It's super easy to keep track of. You can see here all the lessons for Self-Publishing Pro are going to be here. These are actually drip out week by week so you don't get overwhelmed. So you'll just have week one on week one, and then week two will drop. But you could see here, this lesson's on building the team. If you want to have a team to work with, maybe you want to build out everybody to help you in your self-publishing project. We teach you how to do that. If not, maybe you just need one person to kind of fill in the gaps um, that 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 you're not very good at. That's just one aspect of this whole self-publishing pro course. So just wanted to share with you some of that stuff. The other thing about if you join the studio as well, we've got the 24/7 helpline. So if you ever have a question, a project that you're working on, you post it here, and within 24 hours, a professional is actually going to get back to you, whether it's me, Lee, Will, Sam, David, or Anthony. We've got the pro
Anthony's here in the
demos.
chat. Jake, did you know that he's lurking?
I saw him there.
He's lurking.
Plants with personality for this Freaky Friday. Um, there's special events just for the studio members. So one thing we recently did was the hot seat, which is super fun, which was we're going through our studio members and people are volunteering each month. We're putting them in the hot seat where we're going through their portfolio and their website and their presence and their style and everything, and just saying, here's what's going good. Here's what you really need to work on. Here's the ugly stuff that you just got to get rid of. Don't put that on your website anymore. And we've got such strong
Oh
feedback.
man, we went so deep on that one. We had an artist who did that for the other day, and she's right at the level of being, I think, a breakout pro. I mean, she's
Hmm.
good.
Yeah.
And we did an hour long deep dive into her work and looked at it every little thing. It was so much fun.
Yeah. So that's what's going on with SVS.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a lot. We have completely changed the whole thing. I mean, we're actually a real I would put us in terms of the level of the highest degree art school, like better than a RISD, better than anything under a RISD, I would say. I mean, the stuff that's coming out, if you just go into our community now and you start looking around, I've been blown away. The students are posting stuff, and each time it gets better and better and better. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to come check it out. Um,
It's a lot of work for us, though. That's the one
yeah.
drawback is we've been working all
We're just
day,
complaining.
every day, and
We're
now we're
like, wait,
complaining a
another
lot.
live stream?
Ryan's asking how long did it take to swap out the whole community? Oh my gosh, that's a great question. It was probably 6 to 9 months of full time work to bring everything over, figure out how it's all working, figure out how to bring the people who are from the old platform into this platform. I mean, we have a like I said earlier, like a staff of like 10 people now when we're at our little office kind of Zoom meetings. It's just people going across the top to try
Yeah.
to try to wrangle this whole thing. And but it's become such a school, I guess, for lack of a better term. It's just it was the missing component that we haven't had all these years. Now I didn't know it until we're into this mode, and now it's like, oh, we hear people talking, we see people interacting, we see the work getting better. We're part of that process, and we're drawing. Anthony and I drawing live on Fridays has been such a blast. And fun way to interact with the students. We're all drawing the same stuff. I mean, that just hadn't happened before, and so
Yeah.
it was worth it. But you are correct, Ryan. It was a massive undertaking.
Here's all the introductions of everybody that's been joining. That's one of the first things we invite you to do is introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, post some of your artwork. And it's fun to see like some of these, are getting lots of engagement, like posting questions and getting answers and whatnot. Um, we got a question from Icasold. Is that how you say it? I said sold. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right. But they say been listening to the podcast for so long and really
Oh,
want to
their
sign up
name
for
name
some of the
is
courses.
Alina.
Oh, it is. Is that
Yeah,
how you pronounce it?
that's what it says right there under that person's screen name. It says my name is
Oh,
Alina.
okay. Anyways, oh yeah, there it is up there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, down, sorry, Alina. Hi, Alina. Sorry about that. But really wanted to sign up for, I really want to sign up for some of the courses. What would you advise budget-wise if I have to choose between the membership or one of the pro courses? So, I would say if you are wanting, I would say there's way more value in the membership overall if you're wanting community and like somebody, people to bounce your work off of and kind of grow over a longer period of time. If you want a information dump on children's books, sign up for Children's Book Pro. If you want an information dump on self-publishing, because you know 2025 is the year you're going to self-publish something, sign up for Children's for Self-Publishing Pro. But if there's if like we are showing here with the pricing, if you're wanting a year an annual membership at the same price as Children's Book Pro, this is going to get you a membership in here with all of the weekly office hours, the live streams that we do, the hot seats, all that stuff for the same price as one of those. So it's kind of like one you're paying more for community, one you're paying more for like information.
Information and yeah.
But this does come with the full curriculum of foundations that we have here. Like it's going to come with all these courses as well. So you're kind of in good hands either way. It just depends on what you want to focus on.
Yeah, I mean, there's two sort of ways to think about it. If I can add just a little bit to what Jake's saying there, on one hand, and you can be the only one to pick which one I'm going to say here, but like on one hand, if you took Children's Book Pro first, let's say your skills in all these foundation things are not where they should be, but you go ahead and take Children's Book Pro, maybe your work in the class is not going to be great, but you're going to have the knowledge now on sort of the framework of where you're going. And then I would say join some version, whether it's the desk tier, the studio tier, whatever you want to do in the community. And that way you already have the framework of how to make a children's book. You're just not good at it yet. And so now you're going through these foundation classes with an idea, sort of a roadmap on where you're going. Because the biggest thing that we can encourage you guys to do is take classes and treat them take the general information from the class, but then apply it to the thing that you're interested in. That's how you stay interested. That's how this becomes fun instead of it just being, oh, I got to do a bunch of perspective exercises. It's, hey, I need to make this thing for my children's book. And I also need to learn perspective. If I combine those two things, now the exercise is fun versus being just a technical exercise, if that makes sense. Um, that said, you could, if you really need to brush up your skills and need more community and want that sort of family type environment around you, I could see you joining this either the studio or desk tier first, going through the foundation classes, getting your work to a certain level where you feel comfortable, take the character design class, all this basic stuff, and then go into the Children's Book Pro and be at a little bit higher caliber
Yeah.
in there. So it just depends on which is your focus, like Jake said. Hopefully that makes sense.
Right. And I don't, I can't explain. I mean, when you sign up for either the desk or the studio, you get access to, look at this, 584 lessons, 75 hours plus a video. That may seem overwhelming, but it is taught piece by piece so that when you take level one, you're building on information that was taught to you the previous one. You're going to take light and shadow. You're going to understand light and shadow so much better after having done how to draw everything basic perspective and visualizing drawing in perspective. Everything's going to start clicking when you go through these. And if you open up each one of these things, you could see here exactly what you're going to be learning in this. Each one of these has the curriculum. It shows you what the videos are going to be or what the assignments are going to be. Like, for example, this particular session has 6 videos just on tone, right? So, uh, and all of this for essentially, if you're, um, depending on how much community you want to have access to, either $300 a year or $800 a year. I'm honestly like shocked sometimes when I'm just like, what are we doing? Are we like giving this away? Like,
Yeah, I don't think anybody in the studio tier will ever drop down. I would put money on that
yeah. The other
because
thing,
they're getting like they're basically getting a tailored personal experience
mhm,
for 450 bucks every 6 months. I mean, it's
yeah.
like,
Yeah, and maybe
oh
you're like,
man.
well, I can't drop 800 right now, or I can't drop 300 right now. Try it out for 6 months. 6 months is fine, and you can get in there, you can get what information you need, you can
And we've had
talk
zero
to,
refunds on this too, by the way.
that's true.
Zero. Not one single time has somebody bailed that I've seen.
Yeah.
I'm trying to kick Jake out. That's the only person we're going to
Did you
try to
see
get
what
rid of.
Anthony said?
I saw it. That's right. You're forced to draw with me. You're going to be forced to buy me a burrito too, by the way. But
Yeah. Well, should we wrap it up there?
I think we should wrap it up. Hopefully, we've been helpful in helping you guys decide on some of this stuff. I know it's a lot for everybody, and we value, the decision you guys have to make. I know it's hard, so it's been fun to chat with you guys.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And if you at all were considering that critique thing for the comics class, again, we have one slot open. So get in on that because I want to critique your comic. All right. Now go draw something. Is that how we're doing it?